Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on how you can use Wazoku to improve the customer experience. I'm joined by my colleague Abby, one of the sales engineers who's going to be doing this with me. So over to you, Abs.
Hi everyone, welcome. This is our webinar on customer experience, and I'm Abby Anderson in sales engineering.
Lovely. We'll just give people a minute or two to join, and then we'll get started. Just a bit of housekeeping for anyone who's waiting. You should be able to see a questions tab at the bottom. So if you have any questions for Abby or I throughout today's webinar, then please pop them in the questions tab. We've also got a chat. So Rob, who's supporting us with this webinar from behind the scenes, will just be sharing links as they become available. And let's get started by sharing my screen. Abby, if you can just confirm for me when you can see it, so that.
Will do be.
Thank you.
Yep, I can see it now.
Wonderful. Well, it's 2 minutes past, so let's get started. So hi, everyone. I'm Bea. I'm the Director of Customer Success here at Wazoku. And welcome to our weekly webinar, where we are today looking at how you can use Wazoku to improve your customer experience. So this is a part of a series of innovation at scale for practitioners. So week by week, we look at how you can use Wazoku to solve various problems, from process improvement to developing new products, as well as giving you best practice on how you might want to manage your evaluation process, your incentive schemes. So if you're new to us, then please go to our website, where you'll be able to see previous webinars that we've run, which are available for you to watch, and also see what's coming up. So I believe we have a couple of webinars coming up in the next couple of weeks around actually challenge planning. So welcome to those as well. So today's webinar, getting into it. So as always, we're going to start with just a bit of an introduction for those who are new to us at Wazoku, how we help organizations innovate with both internal and external audiences or communities, and then introduce how you can use Wazoku to improve your customer experience. So how is it already being used by existing customer, and what ways and things can you try out really to drive those outcomes which we all want, which is loyal customers with great brand loyalty, and increase the adoption of both existing products and new products. And then Abby will jump into one of our platforms so you can see some challenges that we would recommend running to improve the customer experience. Lovely. So just a quick introduction into Wazoku. So for those of you who don't know us, we provide organizations with the tools, the skills, and the training to be able to innovate at scale by capturing ideas both from internal and external audiences. And we do this by using a method we'll tell you a little bit more about, called challenge-driven innovation. So this isn't just about capturing any idea from anyone. It's about let's understanding what our business problems or opportunities are, and then run focused challenges to allow us to be able to solve those problems in a succinct and scalable way by running those specific challenges and getting ideas which are going to bring value to our organizations. Underpinning the platform element and the process is, of course, metrics and reporting, allowing you to be able to see actually how the process is working and be able to get that repeatable value creation. So understand what your idea funnel looks like and be able to then track the return on investment from ideas which you've taken and embedded into your organization. And of course, the benefit of all of this is that we allow you as organizations to capture ideas from anyone at any time. So making sure that this is a process which resonates with people, which is easy to adopt, and allows you to tap into that collective intelligence of your crowd to really get those great ideas and see those through to fruition. So I mentioned I mentioned at the beginning, challenges and challenge-driven innovation. And just to put it quite simply, when we're talking about challenges, we're putting problems out to a crowd that matter. So that crowd can either be within your organization. So that might be people who are, depending on where you work, they might be in your offices, in your warehouses, but people who are working with your organization and part of your sort of day-to-day operations. But it might also be people who are external. So as well as doing what we'll talk about a little bit about today, collaborating with your customers, suppliers, and your partners, we also talk about actually getting ideas or solving problems within a wider network. So at Wazoku, we have a crowd of around 500,000 and growing problem solvers. So often if organizations aren't able to get that idea from inside, or even within parallel industries or known to that organization, they come to us and we help source those ideas from an external crowd. What's key to any challenge, if you're running it internally or to a wider open crowd, is ensuring that you have got the right incentives in place to really drive those contributions. And those contributions and those incentives needn't be monetary. Sometimes that works from an IP transfer if you're looking for really well-developed solutions. But actually, this can be anything from career progression, from learning skills, to being part of a network of known innovators. So when we're thinking about challenges, we always need to start about thinking is, why might someone want to give us a solution to the problem, and how can we incentivize that participation? Just a quick overview of the central processes of challenge-driven innovation. It works the same way, regardless of whether you're running a small challenge to 100 people, you're going out to your entire organization. And it starts with the goal or opportunity. So understanding what is it that we want to be able, what's that really big program goal? So it might be something broad ranging, sustainability, even improving the customer experience as a big program and something that's continually striving towards. And then breaking those down into more succinct challenges. So thinking of those as specific problem statements, which are quite actionable, so we can get the results out of them. They're limited enough in scope. They are owned by the organization, so that actually we are able to run challenges where we're going to get value, because we're going to get ideas which solve the problem that we need, rather than ideas which are unrelated, even if they're a great idea. Once we've defined those challenges, or shown you how to define those challenges, the next element in this is actually determining who are the right communities to be able to help us solve this problem. And as always, we say go as broad as possible. So is that diversity of thinking, experience, and intelligence in your organization that you should really seek to capitalize by going and getting ideas from diverse sources? And not just thinking about that in terms of the idea creation itself, but how can we actually pair people together who might have differing skill sets, but when partnered with one another are able to really develop ideas which are dynamic and really going to drive value. So that's what we need to think about once we've defined those challenges, pose them as a challenge to be able to capture those ideas so that we can then think about evaluating those solutions. So have a good routine way of ensuring that we are able to evaluate, make a selection on the ideas we want to take forward before integrating those into your organization and really executing on those ideas to drive that tangible outcomes and that tangible return on investment. So a process that we recommend you use, whether you're a customer of ours or not, to really ensure that you get the quality ideas that are going to solve your business problems. So customer experience, I think one of the things to call out quite early on, certainly after looking at this and looking at it before, is thinking about the difference between the customer service and the customer experience. And of course, when we're talking about customer experience, we're thinking about every potential touch point in that customer journey, right from the first moment that they interact with your brand through to building that happy, loyal customer. And depends on what organization and whether your customer is really internal in your organization or outside, it's really good to think about, okay, how can we continuously improve that so that we, as I mentioned beforehand, build happy customers, build loyal customers, and ensure that we're doing everything we can to keep those customers with us. And reasons why we're seeing a lot of challenges and continually have seen a lot of challenges around this is firstly around preventing customer churn. We know that a lot, of course, is always happening. There's lots of competition arising, and there's lots of competing demands for our customers' time and attention. So what we want to do when we're thinking about the customer experience is think, how can we actually prevent customer churn? Do we know why we might have customer churn? And actually, how can we address it? Another reason why you might want to run challenges in this area is, of course, to actually just increase the satisfaction. You may have identified a pain point in your specific customer journey, and what you need to be able to do is crowdsource ideas on how to solve that particular problem, increase satisfaction in an area, just so that we're not seeing customers drop out as easily. Driving revenue growth. So happy customers, returning customers tend to come back and buy more. It's really important, as you all know, to be able to continually drive that growth and build that brand loyalty. So people are really coming back, that they're buying more, they're happy, and you're really delivering that great customer experience. So big topic area, but we've got a lot of different things that people are doing to address this wider goal of how can we not only improve over time, but just sustain that good customer experience that we already have. And one thing we've seen a lot on a starting point is actually to use Wazoku to be able to capture and prioritize those pain points. It's not always that you need your employees to come up with the solutions. With people who are in such close proximity to your customers, you may want to start off thinking about those problems or their challenges. It's understanding where those pain points are and then having more data to be able to analyze. So of course, you've got your customer forums and you'll be able to understand through interaction what pain points are. But go and ask the people who are on the phone to customers, who are meeting customers for the first time, who are trying to save customers, to identify those pain points and be able to track that through a workflow and really understand what the trends are. You may also have a specific process within your customer journey that you want to improve. So it might be to do with your telemarketing. It might be to do with actually any call monitoring that you have with your customers. The pain point element may then feed this pipeline of, here are some of the process changes. What I always recommend bringing people into this process and asking for their ideas is, of course, you initiate and you get better buy-in from the people who are then going to be operating. Because then it's that proximity, also knowing what the potential solutions are. Customer experience is also around co-creation, around meeting the customer's specific needs. And rather than just putting something on the shelf, be that metaphorical or not, it's about how can we better involve customers in the co-creation of new products and services. And we ran a competition with Danone, actually, which was a couple of years ago now. And what they did, which was really great, was how can we improve? They were ultimately looking to get products where they could monitor or improve the amount of fruit and vegetables children were eating. And they wanted to be able to find a way with parents to create a product that would actually allow parents to monitor how healthy the diet of their children was. So rather than going off in a lab and doing that independently, part of this is, can we co-create? Can you come to Danone with an idea? We'll be able to do it with you, and you both get a share of the IP. So great co-creation and a great use of crowdsourcing there. So another way is to be able to address focus challenges at specific points in time. So if you had stores or physical stores or not, you might want to, for example, run a challenge around increasing footfall post-pandemic. There will be topics and problem areas that arise, and there's a great way to be able to run a very focused challenge on that versus having the more process improvement and continuous capture of pain points. Developing products, and that's one of the things we're going to show you how we do it today using our platform. So actually allowing our customers to see what we're developing, to be able to be part of that process and actually continuously get feedback. So particularly if you've got an element of your business which is to do with software and software tools, or you're responsible for the implementation of a new software tool within your organization, using the platform to be able to capture enhancements, to be able to give visibility of what's coming is another great way that you can use it to improve your customer experience. And of course, competitions. So rather than just a focused challenge to a specific area, can we actually mobilize our organizations to focus on the future of the customer experience and run bigger, broader scale competitions What this is really good at doing is refocusing people's energy back into the what, the why, and how of your business, and get people excited, not just about the small things that you could be doing today, but the big things that you might be doing tomorrow to be able to improve that customer experience, keep people coming back, and invite new people.
Hi, Bea. We actually got a question there.
Great. Can you? I can't see it. Can you read it out to me?
Is why would customers join a co-creation community?
So in terms of what you're looking to ask from your customers there. So again, from a positioning piece, there's got to be an incentive. Why are they doing it, as you've called out? What I've seen work well before is actually, look, we want to be able to get your feedback to help shape this, so it ultimately will drive a better output for you as the customer. But it's not going to be, that's not going to resonate with every potential customer. So what people tend to do is go to customers who are high loyalty customer and do it as more as an add-in. You might also want to incentivize them as well. Is there another question, Abby?
There is another question. How do I get non-customer facing colleagues interested in this? And what's the role in the exec team?
So non-customer facing in the customer improvement challenges. So I think there's an element for people who aren't potentially aren't seeing the problems on the ground, but might be part of the solution development. So it may be that a problem has been cited whereby I'm ringing up and I'm on hold for 6 minutes because, we haven't quite got right the options when you ring up and select and want to speak to someone. Now, I might be a tech person who actually is quite interested in the technical solution part of that. So it's often about how can you incentivize those people to be part of the solution development, and what incentives are part of that. So again, time away to be able to develop a new idea, for example, is something that I've seen work well before.
Yeah, Bea, I think it's also that because they're not necessarily customer facing in your organization, they probably are customers somewhere else. For example, a bank, they're definitely using a bank, they're definitely using a bank's products, and you can tap into that knowledge that they hold there with their utilization of different products or competitors' products, and bring that knowledge in-house into the way your organization works. So even if they're not necessarily customer facing staff for your organization, they probably are themselves customers somewhere else, or even for you.
That's a really good point. And I think, people can go out, be it buying a car, using a bank to be able to help improve. And that's a challenge we've seen often posed, is you're all using competitor products. So what have you seen that's working well in competitor products, or the competitor experience that we should begin to adopt into our own organization? In terms of the role of the exec, and I think this works when you're certainly looking at the bigger, larger competitions, that, it's around refocusing priorities. You need to see that the exec team are sponsoring this and they're willing to put budget aside to be able to implement improvements to improve that customer experience. So you really need the backing of your exec team to bring the customer experience front and center, to incentivize participation and be able to give people time to work on the solution development. Another thing they can do is actually get people better at bringing forward pain points and problems. So one of the things that exists in a lot of organization is that nervousness that I say, oh, there's a pain point or a problem that I haven't fixed, that they're going to be reprimanded in some way. So I think it's really important that your exec team is saying, look, we want to understand what the pain points are. We want to understand, you might not have the solution to it. That's absolutely fine. But let's gather as much insight from our employees, because you are the ones who interact with customers directly or non-directly, serving customers all day, whereas the exec team are often very, very far removed. So I think that's part of the messaging and the need from them in terms of promoting engagement. Wonderful. Any more questions, Abby?
No, that's it for now, Bea.
Lovely. So, John Lewis, we've got a webinar on this, and I recommend that you have a listen. Robbie might be able to share it in the chat. So One of the primary use cases of the John Lewis Partnership is through the customer experience to identify those pain points and breaks in the customer process and in the customer kind of interactions. So again, just ensuring that as much as possible, people can be able to report those problems, and then they can run focused challenges or begin to do research to be able to identify what the actual cause or the root cause of that pain point is. So often, of course, you know, the problem which you think is happening in the store might be something to do with what's actually happened back in the warehouse. And if you're able to engage your employees, is really get that pipeline, that engagement around the problems, and then be able to understand solutions. So they're great at that, and we will share a recording to a webinar they've previously done with us, talking exactly about how they do that and how it works. For those of you who were on our webinar last week, we were talking a bit about new products and services, but Aviva used to run a customer cup. This was a company-wide initiative calling for people to come up with new products and services really to improve that customer experience. So the idea that I've got on the screen here now was actually came out of this competition, whereby people were asked, you know, what do we need to do to better serve our customers? And a team in France said, actually, we aren't able to get to our specific audiences just by doing digital marketing and getting people through an online journey. So what we'll do, a relatively low fidelity solution, we'll send a van off to various markets and market days and be able to capture and be able to sell our products there. So really, really great example of actually making this an organization-wide initiative and incentivizing people to go in and actually come up with ideas. So Abby, I'm going to hand over to you, and we can have a look at the platform and types of challenges to be able to improve that customer experience.
Perfect, thanks, Bea. So today we're going to look at two different audiences. Firstly, we're going to pivot based on that example of what Aviva were doing with their employees. So looking at how to run a challenge internally to drive new product ideas, improve customer experience with your employee base. Secondly, we're going to use Wazoku as an example, A, of how we drink our own Kool-Aid, and B, how to co-create with your customers in a specific co-creation community. Okay. Bea, if you could let me know when you can see my screen.
Will do, we can do, Abby, thanks.
Perfect, thanks, Bea. So like we were saying with Aviva, running an internal customer experience competition can be a great way of collecting ideas for new products and services, how to improve existing product offerings, and how to improve customer experience within your organization. It can also be an interesting way of tapping into an entrepreneurship scheme. You hear the word entrepreneurship a lot in innovation, a way of making employees feel like they're part of your organization and helping them develop out new propositions, which you can then leverage to improve your customer experience. The challenge that I'm showcasing here has an example workflow as to what we would advise for this. So you can go out with a capture form that has quite a detailed submission on it so that you're able to validate whether or not these are legitimate proposals for your organization. Then you can do an initial review. An initial review period, which is where people who are in the panel, who have the authority to make change, can filter out the ideas that you aren't actually interested in and progress the ideas on that you wish to go to for further development. The benefit of doing a quick review first is you remove any of the ideas that you're not interested in, and therefore you don't waste the idea creator's time. You quickly cull it before they're expected to put any more time into developing those ideas out, which is the fail fast approach and benefits the employee in the long run. You can then move the ideas that you're interested in into a development stage. This is where the entrepreneurship comes in, as you teach these idea creators how to build out business proposals. They get advice from the organization, they can help build out canvases, and they start to learn what it's like to develop out an idea in a large organization, which can help benefit your customer experience, but also gets these people bought into their program as they feel like there's something in it for them as they're learning these new skills. After that, we go out to a colleague voting. This helps to bring more people into the scheme, get people interested who may not have had an idea to submit, people who just want to collaborate on ideas, and it helps the crowd feel like they've participated in the selection of the winning solution. After that, you can then go on to implement it. I know we've talked a lot through this webinar about reward and recognition, and as you can see on this one, they were rewarded with 2 weeks of paid vacation. They could also have been rewarded through the process, through their entrepreneurship, and through the ability of gaining a new skill set, or alternatively, you can financially incentivize people to come in and give their valuable opinions. Okay, now into Connect. So here at Wazoku, we do like to drink our own Kool-Aid, and we run a co-creation community with our customers, and we call it Connect. Connect is an opportunity for us to leverage that interesting knowledge and platform experience what our customers have, and to learn from that and develop our roadmap off the basis of it. In here, like Bea was talking about, we have this challenge around collecting problems and collecting opinions of people who are using the platform every day. At the end of the day, our users are in the tool all day, every day, using the platform, implementing ideas, and we can quickly identify problems that our users are facing. We can collaborate on those ideas, see how many people in our crowd are facing a similar situation, and we can then prioritize them in our roadmap off the basis of this. Alongside the ability to share problems and needs with our platform, we also have the ability to showcase our roadmap externally to our audience. This allows people who are using the platform to come in and comment on things that we have in our roadmap, enabling us to build our ideas based on what people who are using the platform every day want. So before a solution is implemented and is live in the platform, we're already able to go through a stage of user-accepted testing of people giving feedback and building out the solution to make sure it fits as many customer needs as physically possible. On top of that, we can also run additional challenges such as sharing what other people are doing within the platform, showcasing how other customers are using it. So this could be a space where you can showcase the great things that you're doing in your organization, highlighting to customers the benefits of using your products and what that looks like. Okay, that's all from me. Thanks, Bea.
Thanks for that, Abby. Lovely. So that concludes our short webinar today with some ideas and thoughts on how you can use the platform and Wazoku to engage with your customers, engage with your employees, and build an even better customer experience. So many thanks for joining us today, and I will just bring up the details of our next webinar. 1 second. Which will be happening next week. So, seem to have had a screen sharing problem. Rob, if you could put the link to the next webinar, that would be great into our chat today. And have we got any more questions that have come up?
No, I don't believe so, Bea. No questions today.
Fantastic. If you have any questions for Abby or I,
nope, that's the webinar link.
Oh, that's the webinar link. Thanks so much for that, Rob. If you have questions, please email me, bea@wazoku.com, if you're interested in running a challenge about or with your customers to improve that customer experience. Lovely. Thanks, everyone.
Everyone. Bye.
Bye.